What a great video, huh?
I love it.
Yeah. How do you feel? How do you feel right now?
Inspired.
Inspired.
Hopeful.
Hopeful.
Open.
Open.
In love.
In love.
In joy.
Yes. Because we are one, aren't we? That's one of my mom's most favorite videos. She heard me preparing for my talk, and she was like, "Oh, you're going to play that video?" Absolutely love it. It's my go-to. It's my go-to when I am desiring to bring a little bit more of those feelings into my present awareness. Inspiration, being in love, hopeful, connected. So what to expect when we're expecting? Now I know some of you saw the talk title today and thought, wait, is this the wrong place? Am I about to hear a lecture on prenatal vitamins and nursery colors? Probably not going to do a lecture on prenatal vitamins. Always happy to talk about nursery colors, though. We are always expecting. And in the New Thought tradition, we are perpetually pregnant. So just think about that for a minute. We are perpetually pregnant, and that's really hard to say. We are perpetually pregnant with possibilities. The ultimate question is, are you expecting a miracle? Or are you expecting the same old chaos with just a different haircut? In the physical world, if you expect a baby, you start by buying diapers. In the metaphysical world, your beliefs are the diapers. And woo, let me tell you, have you ever uncovered some stinky beliefs that needed changing? It happens. They stink up the joint. And that's a good thing, right? Because it helps me to become super aware of them immediately, hopefully immediately, so that I can change those beliefs and they don't continue to adversely affect my life and those around me. Another reason why it's important to have that awareness is that they are the structural support for what you are about to manifest, those beliefs of ours. We think that we see the world as it is. We don't. We see the world as we are in every single moment. If you believe that the world is a hostile place, you'll find the one person in the grocery store who hasn't had their coffee yet and is ready to fight over a coupon. If you believe, bless you, if you believe that you are supported by a loving universe, bless you again, you'll find the one parking spot that opens right as you pull up. Your beliefs are a blueprint. You cannot build a mansion with the blueprints for a shed. If your belief system is set to life is hard and then you die, the universe, being the ultimate yes person, simply says, your wish is my command. Here's some more hard for you. Every one of us is always expecting something. We're expecting something from life. We're expecting something from other people. And we expect something from ourselves. And whether we realize it or not, those expectations become the spiritual womb from which our experiences are born. So let's talk about expectation. I'm going to share a few quotes from different people to kind of cover the full spectrum of expectation. Because we've already talked about it metaphysically, we're pregnant with possibilities all the time. But have you ever heard that we're not supposed to have expectations? You ever heard that too? So it kind of goes from one spectrum to the other. We expect things all the time, or we're not supposed to have expectations. Which is it? We're going to go down that journey together this morning. Lev Grossman from The Magician King says, that was the thing about the world. It wasn't that things were harder than you thought they were going to be, but it was that they were hard in ways that you didn't expect. Robert Jordan, New Spring, says he was swimming in a sea of other people's expectations. Men drowned in seas like that. Alexander Pope says, blessed is he who expects nothing, for he shall never be disappointed. Jane Austen, from Sense and Sensibility, one of my all-time favorites, says, to wish was to hope, and to hope was to expect. And Brian Tracy from Maximum Achievement says, positive expectations are the mark of the superior personality. So which is it? Maybe it's all of it. Maybe it's all of it. In New Thought, we understand something powerful, that thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. So today we're going to explore 3 questions. What are we expecting? How do our expectations and beliefs shape our experiences? And how do we change our expectations when we want a new experience, a new life to be born? We are not merely living our lives, we are continually giving birth to them all the time. So I'm going to bring some Rumi into the room. Love Rumi. And this is from his poem, The Guest House. So I invite you to take these words in because you probably know this poem, but you've never heard it in this moment. So let's take these words in. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. The universe doesn't send us lessons until we're ready to learn them. Even when it feels like you're being punished with the same pattern over and over and over again. Each time it returns, you're at a different level of consciousness, capable of seeing deeper, healing further, and integrating more. That Rumi is so amazing, because Rumi also wrote that the wound is the place where the light enters you. So that guest house that he speaks of, where sometimes, and he recommends we welcome it all, but sometimes when it's a momentary awareness of an unexpected visitor, of something that might not feel so good, or something that is unexpected, that catches us, and we're like, ooh. The thing is that's where the light enters us the most. I don't know about you, but pretty much if I were to sketch a blueprint of all of the times in my life when I felt like I learned some really big stuff, it wasn't when it felt good or I was having a good time. It was usually when I was experiencing one of those other visitors that Rumi was saying to invite into my guest house. Rumi also says that how else would our mirror get polished if it didn't get rubbed? So, we belong to each other. We are connected by consciousness. We are connected by love and our common humanity. There is not 2 or 3 or 4 or 8.1 billion. Ernest Holmes said that there is one life behind all that lives. One, never 2. The unity of all life. To learn this is the secret of the ages. So I'm smiling at Lloyd because Friday night at the drumming circle, when we were in fellowship afterwards, he came up to me and said, "What's the highest number that God can count to?" And guess what he said? 1. So the Pachanga Indian one world song that you just experienced, love that song. And I know in their delivery of it, it's so powerful and beautiful. And I wanted to share some of the lyrics because they talk kind of fast in some of them. And I wanted to make sure that those lyrics were a part and shared in this talk and this message. So it says, "What I know, What I know is we are one. One voice saying, yes, we can. We pull ourselves up because we are all one fam. We are the power of the people when we stand as one. I woke up today hungry for change, a new path to take, can't stay the same. Been too long working out who's right or who's wrong. Can you hear me now? Because all we need to do is have a little bit of love. Take time to heal, and it starts with us. Hand in hand is where I put my trust. Hold on to hope. We can break the code. It's you who are. It's who I am. We all bleed the same blood. One world. We got beautiful differences. Unity. Imagine what it would look like. You would think you would do whatever it took. Right? I would do anything for this good life. We can do anything if we unite. One people, we stand all together, one voice saying, yes, we can. Each one, reach one, till we pull ourselves up, because we're all one fam. Change. We connect that love, because the people with power for the power of the people, we stand as one. Change. So Dr. Marshall Rosenberg in Nonviolent Communications says, regardless of our many differences, we all have the same needs. What differs is the strategy for fulfilling those needs. Criticism, judgment, and violence are all tragic expressions of unmet needs. So a lot of times, I think that when and if we're experiencing criticism, judgment, and violence, there are some deep-seated, revealing, unhealed needs that are needing to be met in that moment. And it's always a call for love. And thank God we have each other. Because if one of us is feeling it and it can't be the place of love in that moment, then somebody else is there to hop in and be the love and show you the love and express the love. So let's start with expectations as a metaphysical principle. Life meets us at the level of our expectations, not just our hopes, not our affirmations that we post on Facebook. That was a little joke. But our deep, often unconscious expectations. You know the ones. The voice that says things like, this always happens to me. I'm just not lucky. People never listen to me. Technology hates me. Which, if that one's true, it means my printer has a personal vendetta. But I'm really learning a good relationship with it. How many else pray to the printer gods in this room? These inner expectations form the lens through which we interpret reality. Two people can experience the same situation and walk away with entirely different conclusions. One says, life is against me. The other says, life is teaching me. Same event, different expectation, and therefore different experience. New Thought teaches that the universe is not punishing or rewarding us. It is responding to us, like the cosmic echo. You shout into the canyon, nothing ever works out. And the canyon faithfully replies, nothing ever works out. Now that may not be the affirmation we meant to send out, yet the universe is an excellent listener, sometimes too excellent. This is why it helps to become aware of what we're actually saying internally. Because what we expect tends to show up wearing work clothes. Let's talk about perspective. Perspective is the angle from which we interpret life. And the fascinating thing about perspective is this: it can change instantly. Nothing external needs to change, only how we see it. Let me give you an example. Imagine you wake up in the morning and it's raining. Imagine that. I mean, I know it never happens here, but just imagine that. You open your eyes and it's raining. Perspective number one says, oh, great, another gloomy day. Perspective number two says, wonderful, the garden is being watered. And perspective number 3 is perfect. This is the perfect excuse to stay inside with coffee and a book. Same rain, 3 completely different experiences. The rain didn't change, the perspective did. And when perspective changes, the emotional experience changes. So see, our emotions and our perspectives, they're linked. And the good news is our perspectives can change in an instant. And then our emotions follow. Have you all ever heard the story, The Cookie Thief? You ever heard that story? So let me use this story as another example. A woman was waiting at the airport for her hours-long flight, and since her flight was just delayed, she had several hours on her hand. So she went to the airport shops and bought a book and a bag of cookies. She sat down next to a man and started to read the book she had bought. While she was engrossed in her book, she saw the man beside her boldly grab a cookie from the cookie bag. She ignored the incident to avoid a scene. She munched some cookies from the bag and went back to her book. But the man seemed to have enjoyed the cookies way too much. He took some more cookies from the pouch and started munching them. By that time, she was getting increasingly irritated as the cookie thief finished her cookie stock. Every time she took a cookie from the bag, he took one. Finally, when the last cookie was left, the man nervously took that cookie, broke it in half, and offered the other half to the lady and smiled. The lady snatched the other half of the cookie from him and thought, this guy has some nerve that even after eating half a bag of my cookies, he didn't show any gratitude. She had been so galled by the man and was relieved when her flight was called. She gathered up her belongings and headed to the gate, refusing to look back at the thieving ingrate. She boarded the plane and sat in her seat reading her book. She reached her hand into her baggage and was surprised to find a bag full of cookies in it. Uh-oh. If my cookies are in here, she moaned in despair. The other one she was eating from was his bag of cookies, and he tried to share. While she was flushed with anger about her cookies, the man was happily sharing his cookies with her. So she was filled with the feelings of guilt and regret, but it was too late to apologize. So the moral of that story is things are not always as they appear. Do not judge. It's just a matter of perspective sometimes. Yet notice, as soon as she changed her perspective, her emotions about the man changed, and her emotions about herself changed, right? In New Thought, we sometimes say, change the way you look at things, and the things that you look at change. Sometimes people misunderstand this. They think it means pretending everything is wonderful. You know, everything's wonderful all the time. La, 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 la. That's not metaphysics. That's denial, wearing a smiley face. It's also known as spiritual bypass. Real metaphysical practice says, I may not control every circumstance, but I can choose the meaning I give it. Meaning is where our freedom lives. The meaning of what was happening with the cookies. From both of their different perspectives, it didn't change what was happening with the cookies. And when we shift meaning, we shift our experience. There was a monk walking through the jungle that finds himself trapped on a cliff. Above him, a tiger. Below, a drop to certain death. As he clings to a vine, 2 mice begin to gnaw at it. He knows the end is near. And as he clings to the vine, he sees a wild strawberry growing on the cliffside. He reaches and plucks it, and he eats it. And how sweet it is. Being so deeply aligned with the moment, the fear of death or craving for escape fell away. In that single bite, he lived in truth, not in thought, but in direct experience. We shift our experience by shifting the stories that we tell ourselves. and by shifting the stories we tell ourselves about the experience. Our minds are remarkable storytellers. Some of our stories are beautiful, and some are empowering, and some, frankly, could use a rewrite. The educator and author Donna Markova, who I spoke of in November, offers a powerful teaching about the stories that we tell ourselves. She says we live in one of two stories, a rut story or a river story. A rut story is safe, predictable. It's well-worn. It's socially acceptable. You know what to expect. It's been driven by so many before you that all you have to do is follow. Rut stories numb us and confirm that we always are who we have always been. It sounds like this. This is just how things are. I'll do what I've always done and hopefully get a better result this time. It's so much easier to keep things the way they are. I can't change now. I've already invested too much in this version of me, in this version of this. Is there anybody in here who resonated with that one before? A rut story is a story that keeps us stuck. You know, stuck in a rut. It's like a groove worn in the road. And once your tires fall in that groove, you keep driving in the same direction. And depending on how long you've been in that particular rut, depends on how deep the grooves are, which makes it all the more difficult to break out of it. It's always been this way. That's just how my family is. I tried that once, and it didn't work. People like me don't succeed. Unfortunately, rut stories feel familiar, meaning they feel comfortable. But they don't move us to anything new. They keep us circling the same mountain. Now, a river story is different. A river is alive. It moves, it flows, it adapts, it shifts, it meanders, it rushes, and slows and floods and carves. It turns when the terrain turns. It deepens when the land calls it down. It spills over when it needs to, and it carves rock when it must. A river story says, that used to be true for me. I'm learning something new about myself. Life may be inviting me into something different. I wonder what else is possible. It doesn't always make sense. It sounds like I can't explain it, but I know I have to do this. Or this scares me, but it also lights me up. I'm choosing alignment over approval. So do you all feel the difference between rut and river? Rut stories are about identity as limitation, safety, comfort, habit. Did I say safety and comfort? River stories are about identity as evolution, growth, stretching, unknown, uncomfortable, exciting, different. Did I say unknown and uncomfortable? And the thing about rivers is they only find their path by moving. You don't plan a river, you become one. A river story begins when you stop asking, how do I stay safe? And start asking, what is most true? There is a tremendous power in the quality of questions that we ask ourselves. Donna Markova asks, have you ever noticed how you tend to ask yourself the same questions every morning when you wake up? Where do I have to go today? What's the market doing? Who do I have to call? She says that these questions are often the beginning of the tranquilizing spell that we cast on ourselves as we slip our feet into our comfy identity. We become who we've known ourselves to be, maybe the total busy woman or the frenzied entrepreneur or whatever title you've chosen to take on for yourself. The questions we habitually ask ourselves is really what defines us. Donna asked a poet, what was the first question she asked herself every morning? And the poet replied without thinking, who was I before the alarm clock rang? Who was the stranger I was in my dreams? A CEO, in response to the same question, told her before he got out of bed, he asked himself, what problems are waiting for me to solve today? As you can imagine, the two of them live very different lives. Questions can also be dangerous. They can take us right to the edge of what is known and comfortable. They can require tremendous courage to ask, because we know that new questions can lead to new ways of perceiving. And what do those new ways of perceiving lead to? They can lead to new explorations of our world. Because your life isn't built from your answers, it's built from your questions. And most of us have been taught to ask questions like, how do I get them to like me? What will keep me comfortable? How can I avoid disappointment? And guess what those questions build? Anybody? What do those questions build? Ruts. Those are rut questions. Is this thing on? Y'all paying attention? Yet when you start asking questions like, what is my soul trying to say? What would I do if I knew I could not fail? What truth am I trying and tired of running from? Now that's how rivers get born. And here's a metaphysical insight. The story we repeat becomes the experience we expect. And what we expect becomes what we notice. And what we notice becomes what we reinforce. So before long, we say, see, I knew it. Yet often, what we knew was simply the story we kept rehearsing, and the only thing that we were training our eyes to see or experience. Expectations don't just shape our experiences, they shape our capacity to evolve. Because if we expect ourselves to stay the same, we usually do. If we expect to feel comfortable, we can react when faced with changes that feel uncomfortable. I know that there were some new folks at the drumming circle on Friday night, and someone hadn't been in here since there were pews, and they were like, wow, this place looks and feels so different without the pews. And some of the other folks said, yeah, we took a little riffraff from removing those pews, but we think it was a good idea. But see, that riffraff happens, right? When you make some changes. Yep. Yes, it does, because it makes people uncomfortable. Growth requires a different expectation, an expectation that says, I am capable of becoming more than I have been. We are capable of becoming more than we've been. Spiritual teachers throughout history remind us that life is constantly inviting expansion. Yet, expansion can feel uncomfortable because the old identity says, stay where it's familiar, while the soul says, there is more to experience. So sometimes we stand at the edge of a new possibility and our expectations whisper, this probably won't work. And right there, you have a choice. We can listen to the rut story and stay stuck in the rut story, or we can step into the river story. And the river story says, I may not know exactly how this is going to unfold, yet life is moving through me in creative ways. And suddenly expectation shifts from fear to curiosity, from limitation to possibility. So how do we change expectations when we want a different life experience? There's 3 simple spiritual practices. Notice the story. Become aware of the running narrative in your mind and ask yourself, what am I expecting here? Awareness alone is transformative. You can't change a story that you don't realize that you're telling. Question the story. Is this story absolutely true, or is it just familiar? Many of our beliefs were formed decades ago. Some were handed to us by well-meaning relatives. Others came from one unpleasant Tuesday in 1987. But not every old story deserves permanent residence in our consciousness. And 3, choose a river story. A river story doesn't ignore reality. It simply opens to possibility. Instead of, this never works, try, I'm learning new ways for this to work. Instead of, I'm terrible at relationships, try, I'm discovering healthier ways to connect. And instead of my life is stuck, try my life may be preparing something new. That's a river story. So what to expect when you're expecting? Because spiritually speaking, we are always expecting. Expecting joy or disappointment, expecting growth or stagnation, expecting miracles or limitations. And life in its mysterious intelligence meets us right there, not to punish us, not to test us, to mirror the creative power already within us. You are not just living a life, you're gestating one. Your beliefs are the womb. Your perspective is the midwife. And your expectations are the invitation. So what kind of life are you expecting to be born? Just take a minute. What kind of life are you expecting to be born in this moment? Is it a life shaped by old rut stories? Or a life flowing forward like a river, creative, evolving, and full of possibility? Do you recall in January when I spoke of the idea of the entelechy by Dr. Jean Houston? Some of you all remember that? Houston calls our entelechy the midwife of our soul. She says it lures you, not pushes you, into greater becoming. It beckons. Come be me. Come be me. That highest and greatest vision and possibility that you have for yourself. Come be me, it beckons. Yet to hear that call, we have to get quiet. We have to practice what she calls radical empathy with ourselves and with others. This means listening not for what's wrong, but for the golden thread that weaves itself through the tapestry of our lives, through the tapestry of our interconnectedness. Remember, we're one. There's only one number, one. That golden thread is weaving that tapestry within each one of our lives and our connection points. And our expectations, our choices is what determines where the next stitch goes. The question isn't, where did I mess up? It's what is trying to be born through me? What is trying to be born through you? What is trying to be born through us? Our expectations can actually act as a ceiling of our evolution. If you only expect what you've already seen, you are effectively telling the infinite, thanks, but I got it from here. I'll just take more of the same. To truly evolve, we have to become comfortable with the great unknown. We have to expect the unexpected good. The beautiful truth of life is, at any point, at any moment, with a single shift in awareness, you can begin expecting something new. Someone once said, I used to expect the worst, and I was rarely disappointed. The universe message for today, March 15th, says this: your imagination is a creative force. The images you hold in your mind send signals about what you are ready to experience. See yourself living the life you desire. Feel the joy of it now. Reality follows the blueprint created in your inner world. So what are you telling yourself today? Do you all remember what questions you asked right when you woke up? Are you saying, I'm getting old? Or are you saying, I'm ripening into my wisdom? Are you saying, I'm broke? Or are you saying, I am in a temporary lull while my next big idea germinates? Your self-talk is the umbilical cord to your future. Make sure you're feeding your future something nutritious. Our spiritual practice invites us to expect growth, expect possibility, expect guidance, and even expect miracles. And when we do that, life has a way of rising to meet us. And when expectation changes, life begins preparing the delivery. So in closing, remember that manifestation has a gestation period. You don't plant a seed and then dig it up every 5 minutes to see if it's growing. You trust the process. You trust the process. So stop expecting the worst and calling it being a realist. Start expecting the best and call it being a co-creator. What are you expecting? Because whatever it is, it's on its way. And so it is.